The Stellar Dawn moved slowly through the dark space around Kepler 442. Captain Alex Morrison sat in his chair on the bridge, drinking his morning coffee. It was just another quiet day until the communication panel started beeping loudly. "Captain, we have an urgent message from Earth Station 7, said Officer Dave Kim, his fingers dancing over the control panel. The main screen flickered to life, showing the worried face of Admiral Roberts. "Captain Morrison, we need you to change course immediately. 3 unknown ships are heading toward the Proxima colony. They're not human ships, and they're not responding to our messages." Alex put down his coffee cup. In his 15 years as a captain, he had never dealt with alien contact. "How long until they reach Proxima?" 6 hours, maybe less. The Stellar Dawn is the closest ship with diplomatic protocols. We need you to make contact and find out what they want. Dr. Lisa Park entered the bridge just as the transmission ended. She was the ship's chief medical officer, a small woman, with sharp eyes who had studied alien biology for most of her career. "Did I hear correctly? We finally have visitors?" 3 ships, unknown species, Alex replied. "Lisa, I need you to prepare for possible medical contact. We don't know anything about their biology." Lisa nodded and hurried to her medical bay. She activated all the scanning equipment and started reviewing the first contact medical protocols. As the ship's computer began receiving data from Earth's monitoring stations, she watched the readings with growing confusion. The alien ships were sending out biological signals, which meant they had living crews. But the life signs made no sense. Heart rates jumping from 50 to 300 beats per minute. Blood pressure readings that should kill any living thing. Temperature variations that would cook most known life forms. Either their equipment is broken or these aliens have the strangest biology in the galaxy, she muttered to herself. 2 hours later, the Stellar Dawn reached the meeting point. Through the main viewer, they could see 3 large ships. They were beautiful in a strange way, made of what looked like dark metal and crystal. Each ship was twice the size of the Stellar Dawn. "Incoming transmission," Dave announced. The screen filled with the image of an alien that made everyone on the bridge catch their breath. General Koth looked like he was carved from living stone. His skin had a gray, rocky texture, and his eyes glowed with a soft blue light. He was easily 8 feet tall, with broad shoulders and arms that looked like they could crush steel. "I am General Koth of the Valdrani Empire." His voice was deep and rumbling, but the universal translator made his words clear. "We come seeking knowledge about the species called humans. We wish to establish diplomatic contact." Captain Morrison stood up straight. "Welcome, General Koth. I am Captain Morrison of the Earth ship Stellar Dawn. We are honored by your visit. Would you like to meet in person?" General Koth's large head tilted slightly. "That would be acceptable. We will send a small party to your ship. We hope to learn about human biology and culture." "Excellent. Dr. Park, our medical officer, can share information about human biology. We're very interested in learning about your people as well." After the transmission ended, Lisa felt excited and nervous. This was the moment she had trained for her whole career. She prepared her medical bay, setting up scanners and displays that would show human anatomy and physiology. An hour later, the Valdrani shuttle docked with the Stellar Dawn. General Koth entered with 2 other aliens. One was Commander Vex, the science officer, who carried what looked like advanced scanning equipment. The other was Captain Wren, a warrior who seemed to study every corner of the ship as they walked. Lisa was amazed by how they moved. Despite their size and rocky appearance, they were graceful and careful. When General Koth accidentally touched a wall panel too hard and left a small crack, he immediately apologized. "Please forgive me. We sometimes forget our strength around more delicate materials." "No problem at all," Alex replied. "Our repair crews can fix that easily." They gathered in the medical bay, where Lisa had prepared a presentation about human biology. She started with basic information, showing diagrams of human organs and explaining how they worked. Commander Vex held up his scanner and pointed it at Lisa. His expression, which was hard to read on his rocky features, seemed to show confusion and concern. He whispered something to General Koth in their own language. "Is something wrong?" Lisa asked. "Commander Vex is..." Puzzled by your biological readings, General Koth said carefully. According to his equipment, your body should not be able to function. Lisa laughed. What do you mean? Vex spoke in heavily accented English. Your heart rate, blood pressure, bone density, by our standards you should be dying. How do you remain conscious with such weak vital signs? Lisa looked at her own readings on the scanner display. Everything looked normal to her. These are normal human readings. We're all quite healthy. The three Valdrani exchanged glances. General Koth leaned forward. Dr. Park, could you explain how humans survived to develop space travel? Your bodies seem fragile. Fragile? Lisa smiled. I suppose we might seem that way. We only have one heart, unlike some species that have multiple backup organs. Our bones break if we fall too hard. We get sick from tiny organisms we can't even see. But we're tougher than we look. Commander Vex scanned Captain Morrison, who had joined them. His readings showed the same impossible vital signs. The aliens' confusion grew deeper. Captain Morrison, General Koth said, what kind of world do humans come from? Earth is a beautiful planet, Alex replied. Lots of water, diverse climates, millions of different animal and plant species. It can be challenging sometimes, but it's home. Challenging how? Captain Wren asked, speaking for the first time. Alex thought for a moment. Well, we have predators, animals that hunt other animals for food, weather that can be dangerous, storms, floods, extreme temperatures, diseases, natural disasters like earthquakes and volcanic eruptions, gravity that makes everything heavy, but every species deals with challenges. The three Valdrani went very quiet. They looked at each other with expressions that seemed like concern or even fear. Captain Morrison, General Koth said slowly, on our world, we have none of these things. We evolved in cooperation, not competition. Our environment provides for us. The idea of creatures hunting other creatures for survival is disturbing to us. Lisa began to understand that they had very different backgrounds. Every world develops life differently. On Earth, survival meant adapting to challenges. It made us resourceful. Commander Vex was still staring at his scanner readings. Nothing about human biology made sense according to Valdrani science. These creatures had single hearts pumping thin blood through weak vessels, carried their big brains in unprotected skulls, and somehow survived on a world full of predators and disasters. As the meeting continued, the Valdrani began to form a picture of humans that would soon lead to dangerous misunderstandings. To them, any species that could survive such a hostile world while being so apparently fragile must be hiding incredible strength and advanced technology. They had no idea that what they saw as weakness was actually the source of humanity's greatest strength, the ability to adapt, survive, and thrive against impossible odds. The next morning, General Koth woke up with a deep worry in his chest. He had spent all night thinking about the humans and their strange biology. In the Valdrani culture, when they couldn't understand something, it usually meant danger was coming. He called Commander Vex and Captain Wren to his private quarters on the Valdrani ship. The room was made of smooth crystal walls that glowed softly with blue light. Vex, show me those readings again, General Koth said, settling his large frame into a chair designed for his species. Commander Vex activated his portable scanner and displayed the human biological data on a crystal screen. General, I have scanned biological data from 17 different species across 12 star systems. Never have I seen readings like these. The display showed human heart rates, blood pressure, bone density, and cellular structure. To Valdrani, eyes every number looked like a medical emergency. Look at this, Vex pointed to the data. Dr. Park's heart beats only 70 times per minute. A Valdrani heart beats 200 times per minute when healthy. Her blood pressure would indicate severe organ failure in our people. And Captain Morrison's bone density is so low that simple walking should break his legs. Captain Wren leaned forward. But they move normally. They show no signs of pain or weakness. How is this possible? That is what worries me, General Koth replied. Either these humans have developed medical technology so advanced that they can function with dying, Bodies or what, General? Vex asked. Or they come from a world so dangerous that what seems like weakness to us is actually strength we cannot understand. Later that day, both crews met again in the Stellar Dawn's main conference room for cultural exchange. The humans had prepared presentations about Earth culture, art, and technology. The Valdrani brought examples of their own crystalline art and peaceful philosophy. Dr. Lisa Park was excited to learn more about Valdrani biology. She had prepared detailed questions about their dual heart system, their silicon-based bone structure, and their incredibly efficient organs. "Commander Vex," she said with a bright smile, "your people are fascinating. Your redundant organ systems must make you very resistant to injury and disease." Vex nodded slowly. "Yes, Dr. Park. If one heart fails, the second continues. If our primary liver is damaged, the backup liver takes over. We evolved this way to ensure survival." "That's amazing," Lisa replied. "Humans only have one of each vital organ. If our heart stops, we die within minutes. If our liver fails, we need immediate medical help or we die within days." The three Valdrani exchanged those worried glances again. Captain Wren wrote something on a crystal tablet. "Dr. Park," General Koth said carefully, "how do humans survive with such vulnerable bodies?" Lisa laughed, not understanding their concern. "We're not as fragile as we sound. Sure, we can get hurt, but we heal pretty well. Our immune systems fight off diseases. We adapt to different environments, and we've developed good medical technology to help when things go wrong." Engineer Tom Brady entered the conference room carrying some tools and equipment samples. He was a cheerful man in his 30s, who loved showing off human engineering to anyone who would listen. "Sorry I'm late," Tom said, setting his tools on the table. "I was fixing the temperature control system in Section C. These old systems need constant maintenance." As he spoke, Tom pulled out a small cutting device to demonstrate human tool design. He activated it to show how the energy beam could cut through different materials. "This is a standard plasma cutter," he explained to the fascinated aliens. "We use it for precision work on ship repairs and construction projects." As Tom adjusted the settings, his hand slipped slightly. The plasma beam touched his left hand, cutting a gash across his palm about 2 inches long. Bright red blood immediately began flowing from the wound. "Oh, damn it," Tom muttered, looking at his bleeding hand. The three Valdrani jumped to their feet in alarm. Commander Vex immediately activated his medical scanner while Captain Wren reached for what looked like emergency medical supplies. "Dr. Park," General Koth called urgently, "your crew member is severely injured." Lisa looked over and saw Tom's bleeding hand. "Oh, that's not too bad. Tom, there's a first aid kit in the wall panel behind you." Tom walked calmly to the wall panel, opened it, and pulled out a small white box. The Valdrani watched in amazement as he cleaned the wound with an antiseptic wipe, applied some kind of medical gel, and covered it with a simple adhesive bandage. "There we go," Tom said, flexing his bandaged hand. "Should be fine in a few days." He sat back down and continued his presentation as if nothing had happened. Commander Vex stared at his scanner readings. The wound had been deep enough to damage multiple tissue layers. By Valdrani standards, Tom should be in severe pain, requiring immediate surgical repair, tissue regeneration therapy, and at least 3 days of recovery in a medical chamber. "Engineer Brady," Vex said in a shaky voice, "are you not in pain?" Tom looked at his bandaged hand. "It stings a bit, but it's not bad. I've had worse cuts from working on machinery. Last month I cut myself worse than this while fixing the food processor. Needed 4 stitches that time." "4 stitches?" Captain Wren asked. "Yeah, they sewed the skin back together with thread. Healed up perfectly. You can barely see the scar now." Tom showed them a faint line on his other hand. The Valdrani looked horrified. In their medical understanding, using primitive thread to close wounds was something their ancestors had done thousands of years ago, before they developed proper healing technology. Dr. Park noticed their expressions. "Are you okay? You all look concerned." "Dr. Park," General Koth said slowly, "on our world, a wound like Engineer Brady's would require immediate surgery, cellular regeneration therapy, and extensive recovery time. How can he continue working? Human bodies are pretty good at healing themselves, Lisa explained. We form blood clots to stop bleeding, then new tissue grows to repair the damage. It takes time, but it works well. Tom's cut will heal completely in about a week. Without medical intervention, Vex asked. The bandage and antiseptic help prevent infection, but mostly his body will fix itself, Lisa said. Humans have been healing from injuries like this for thousands of years, long before we had advanced medicine. Tom nodded enthusiastically. Oh yeah, I've broken bones, torn muscles, had concussions, all sorts of injuries. The human body is tougher than it looks. I broke my leg skiing 2 years ago. Spent 6 weeks in a cast. Then I was back to normal. 6 weeks? General Koth repeated. Faintly. Well, maybe 8 weeks until I was completely back to normal, Tom corrected. But I was walking around after 4 weeks. Commander Vex looked at his scanner again. According to Valdrani medical science, the energy required for a body to regrow, bone tissue, repair torn muscles, and recover from head trauma should be enormous. The fact that humans could do this routinely, multiple times in their lives, suggested biological capabilities far beyond what their simple organ systems should allow. As the meeting continued, the Valdrani began to develop a theory that would lead to dangerous misunderstandings. These humans, with their apparently weak bodies and single organs, were somehow surviving injuries that would kill most species. They were healing from wounds without advanced medical technology. They spoke casually about broken bones and head, injuries as minor inconveniences. To the Valdrani, this could only mean one thing. Humans were far more dangerous than they appeared. Any species that could survive such trauma while looking so fragile must possess hidden strengths and advanced capabilities that they were deliberately concealing. General Koth decided he needed to learn much more about these mysterious humans before his people could safely interact with them. That evening, General Koth called an emergency meeting aboard the Valdrani flagship Crystal Harmony. The ship's main conference room was filled with his top officers, all looking worried. The crystal walls displayed data about humans that made no sense according to everything they knew about biology. Officers, General Koth began, his deep voice echoing in the chamber. We have a serious problem. These humans are not what they appear to be. Commander Vex stood up, activating a holographic display. General, I have spent the entire day analyzing human biological data. My conclusion is disturbing. Humans come from what we must classify as a Class 12 death world. Murmurs of concern filled the room. In Valdrani classification, anything above Class 8 was considered uninhabitable by intelligent life. Explain your findings, General Koth ordered. Vex pointed to the holographic display showing Earth's data. First, let us examine their planet's gravity. Earth has 1.2 times the gravitational force of our homeworld. This means humans live their entire lives carrying extra weight that would exhaust us within hours. Yet they move easily, run, jump, and perform physical labor without technological assistance. Captain Wren leaned forward. That explains their dense muscle structure. They are naturally stronger than they appear. It gets worse, Vex continued. Their atmosphere contains 21% oxygen. Oxygen is a highly reactive gas that causes rapid cellular damage in most species. We use oxygen in our industrial processes because it burns so aggressively. Yet humans breathe this dangerous gas every moment of their lives, Science Officer Dal spoke up. How do they prevent oxygen poisoning? Their bodies have adapted to use oxygen for energy production, Vex replied. They require this toxic gas to survive. Without it, they die within minutes. General Koth felt a chill. Continue your report, Commander. The planet Earth is covered with millions of species, and according to human data, most of them are designed to kill and eat other life forms. They call this evolution through natural selection. Species that cannot fight, hide, or escape get eaten. Only the strongest survive to reproduce. The room fell silent. Valdrani society had evolved through cooperation and mutual support. The idea of life forms deliberately hunting and killing each other was terrifying to them. Captain Wren checked his notes. And humans reached the top of this Death competition? Exactly, Vex confirmed. Despite having no natural weapons like claws or fangs, no armor like shells or thick hide, and no natural defenses like poison or speed, humans became the dominant species on their planet. How? Asked Science Officer Dal. Vex brought up new data. They are persistence hunters. Humans can run continuously for hours, following prey until the animal collapses from exhaustion. Their bodies cool themselves through water evaporation, allowing them to function in heat that would kill most creatures. They can survive on an enormous variety of food sources, including many substances that would poison other species. General Koth studied the data carefully. What about their social structure? They live in cooperative groups but also compete aggressively with each other. They have fought wars involving millions of individuals. Their history is filled with conflicts, disasters, and survival challenges that would destroy most civilizations. Commander Vex activated another display. But here is the most disturbing part. Humans deliberately engage in activities that trigger their survival responses for entertainment. What do you mean? General Koth asked. They call them sports and recreation. Humans will jump from aircraft thousands of feet above the ground, trusting only a fabric parachute to save them. They climb vertical rock faces using only their hands and feet. They race vehicles at dangerous speeds. They enter combat sports where they deliberately try to hurt each other. The Valdrani officers looked at each other with growing alarm. They do this for fun? Captain Wren asked. Yes, and children participate in many of these activities. What humans call normal childhood includes activities that would be considered advanced warrior training in our society. Science Officer Dal pulled up medical data. Commander Vex, what about their consumption of toxic substances? Ah, yes. Vex nodded grimly. Humans regularly consume substances called alcohol and caffeine that would be classified as poisons by our medical standards. Alcohol damages their brain function and liver systems. Caffeine overstimulates their nervous systems. Yet they consume these substances daily, often multiple times per day, apparently for pleasure. General Koth stood up and paced around the room. Let me understand this correctly. Humans evolved on a high-gravity world with a toxic atmosphere, dominated by surviving deadly competition with millions of predator species, developed the ability to persistence hunt, can survive on almost any food source, regularly consume poisons for entertainment, and deliberately engage in dangerous activities for recreation. That is correct, General, Vex confirmed. And despite all of this, they present themselves as peaceful explorers interested in cultural exchange? Yes, General. Captain Wren spoke up. General, there is another possibility. What if they truly are peaceful, and this dangerous background simply made them incredibly resilient? Commander Vex shook his head. Captain Wren, consider the implications. If humans consider their death world environment normal, what would they consider dangerous? If they view persistence hunting and combat sports as entertainment, what do they consider serious military activity? The room fell silent as the implications sank in. Furthermore, Vex continued, humans have been spacefaring for less than 200 years, yet they have already established colonies on multiple worlds and developed faster-than-light travel. Species from peaceful worlds typically take thousands of years to achieve such expansion. General Koth stopped pacing. What is your tactical assessment, Captain Wren? General, if these humans are truly products of such a hostile environment, they must possess survival instincts and fighting capabilities far beyond what we can observe. Their apparent fragility might be camouflage. Their peaceful behavior might be strategic deception. Science Officer Dal added, their ship, the Stellar Dawn, is classified as a science vessel, but it carries what they call standard defensive systems. If their death world standards define what is standard, their defensive capabilities might rival our military vessels. Commander Vex brought up the final piece of his analysis. Officers, I have been monitoring human stress responses during our interactions. When Engineer Brady injured himself, his stress hormones barely increased. When discussing their dangerous planet, their heart rates remained stable. These are not normal fear responses. Either they have complete emotional control or they genuinely do not perceive danger in situations that would terrify most species. General Koth returned to his seat. Commander Vex, what is your recommendation? General, I believe we are dealing with a species that has evolved into natural warriors through millions of years of survival pressure. Their peaceful presentation may be genuine, or it may be a first contact strategy. Until we understand their true capabilities and intentions, I recommend extreme caution. Agreed, General Koth said. We will continue diplomatic contact, but we must prepare for the possibility that these fragile humans are the most dangerous species we have ever encountered. Their death world origin makes them unpredictable. As the meeting ended, none of the Valdrani realized that their fear was based on a fundamental misunderstanding. They saw humans through the lens of their own peaceful evolution, unable to comprehend that strength could come from adaptation rather than aggression, and that survival skills did not necessarily mean hostile intentions. The stage was set for a dangerous escalation, built on misinterpretation and fear. The next morning, Captain Alex Morrison felt good about the cultural exchange. The Valdrani seemed interested in learning about human culture, and he wanted to build a strong friendship between their species. He had no idea that General Koth was now viewing every human action as a potential threat. In the Stellar Dawn's briefing room, Alex met with his senior officers to plan the day's activities. Dr. Park, how did yesterday's medical exchange go? Alex asked. Lisa smiled brightly. Fascinating. The Valdrani have such interesting biology. Their backup organ systems are amazing. Though they seemed very concerned about our single organ setup, I think they worry about how fragile we are. That's understandable, Alex replied. Different worlds, different evolution. What's our plan for today? Security Chief Mike Rogers looked up from his tablet. Captain, I thought we could show them some human recreational activities. Help them understand our culture better. I have videos of extreme sports, adventure activities, that sort of thing. Good idea, Mike. Cultural exchange works best when we share what makes us happy. Meanwhile, aboard the Crystal Harmony, General Koth was studying intelligence reports that made him more worried by the hour. Commander Vex had intercepted routine communications from the Stellar Dawn, and every message seemed to confirm their suspicions about human military capabilities. General, Vex reported, I have been analyzing their ship's technical specifications. Captain Morrison referred to the Stellar Dawn as having standard defensive systems. If this is their standard for a science vessel, I am concerned about their actual military ships. General Koth nodded grimly. What specific capabilities did you identify? Their shields can withstand direct asteroid impacts. Their weapon systems, which they call defensive, include plasma cannons capable of destroying small moons. Their engine system can travel between star systems in days rather than months. Captain Wren studied the data. These specifications match our most advanced battleships, yet they classify this as a research vessel. Exactly my concern, General, Koth replied. If this represents their civilian technology, their military fleet must be incredibly powerful. Science Officer Dal entered the briefing room with more disturbing news. General, I have been monitoring Dr. Park's medical scans of our crew. She claims it is for cultural exchange, but the level of detail suggests intelligence gathering. Explain, General Koth ordered. She scanned our cellular structure, organ placement, bone density, and neural pathways. This information would be valuable for developing biological weapons or targeting our physical weaknesses, Commander Vex added. And Engineer Brady's casual handling of dangerous cutting tools suggests advanced weapons training disguised as maintenance work. General Koth felt the weight of command on his shoulders. Are you certain these humans are preparing for conflict? General, Captain Wren said carefully. Consider their behavior patterns. They smile constantly, showing their teeth. In most species, baring teeth is a threat display or preparation for attack. But they seem genuinely friendly, Science Officer Dal pointed out. That could be strategic, Vex replied. A predator species would naturally be skilled at appearing non-threatening until the moment of attack. Later that day, both crews gathered in the Stellar Dawn's main recreation room. Security Chief Mike Rogers had prepared a presentation about human leisure activities, hoping to show the peaceful, fun-loving side of human nature. "Welcome, friends," Mike said enthusiastically to the three Valdrani. "Today I want to share something important about human culture, how we have fun and challenge ourselves." He activated the main screen, which showed a video of humans participating in various extreme sports. "This is called skydiving," Mike explained as the video showed people jumping from aircraft. Humans jump from planes thousands of feet in the air, then use parachutes to land safely. It's very popular recreation. The Valdrani watched in horror as humans threw themselves from perfectly good aircraft, falling at tremendous speeds toward the ground. General Koth leaned toward Commander Vex. "Is this combat training?" he whispered. "It must be," Vex whispered back. "They are practicing aerial insertion techniques." Mike continued cheerfully, not noticing their concern. "And this is rock climbing. Humans climb vertical cliff faces using only ropes and simple tools. It requires strength, planning, and mental toughness." The video showed humans scaling impossible rock walls hundreds of feet high, with only thin ropes preventing fatal falls. Captain Wren made notes on his crystal tablet. "Advanced infiltration training," he wrote. "Here's whitewater rafting," Mike said as the screen showed humans in small boats navigating dangerous rapids. Humans love challenging fast-moving water. It tests quick reflexes and teamwork. To the Valdrani, this looked like river assault training. "And this is surfing," Mike continued. The video showed humans riding massive ocean waves on thin boards. Humans actually seek out the biggest, most dangerous waves they can find. The bigger and more dangerous, the more fun it is. Science Officer Dal shuddered. Only a warrior species would deliberately seek out dangerous natural forces for entertainment. Mike's enthusiasm grew as he shared more videos. "Oh, and here's mountain biking down steep hills, bungee jumping off bridges, and motor racing at high speeds. Humans love activities that get their adrenaline pumping." General Koth watched video of humans deliberately hurling themselves off bridges attached only to elastic cords, racing wheeled vehicles at speeds that would be lethal in crashes, and navigating deadly mountain terrain on two-wheeled machines. "Security Chief Rogers," General Koth said carefully. "How often do humans participate in these activities?" Mike smiled. "Oh, these are really popular. Millions of humans do extreme sports regularly, and we start young. Kids begin learning these skills in school. Rock climbing walls in gymnasiums, competitive swimming, team sports that involve strategic planning and physical contact." "Children do this?" Commander Vex asked faintly. "Sure, kids love adventure. Summer camps teach rock climbing, whitewater rafting, wilderness survival. It builds character and confidence." The Valdrani exchanged alarmed glances. Human children were receiving what could only be described as advanced military training from an early age. "Mike," Dr. Park said, entering the recreation room, "don't forget to show them the martial arts videos." "Great idea." Mike pulled up new footage showing humans engaged in various fighting disciplines. Humans have developed dozens of different fighting styles: boxing, karate, wrestling, mixed martial arts. These sports teach discipline, fitness, and self-defense. The video showed humans punching, kicking, grappling, and throwing each other in organized combat. "This is sport?" General Koth asked. "Absolutely. Very popular entertainment. Millions of people watch professional fighting competitions, and lots of humans train in martial arts for fun and fitness," Captain Wren wrote frantically on his tablet. "Hand-to-hand combat training widespread in civilian population. Oh, and here's American football," Mike continued, showing a video of armored humans running into each other at full speed while fighting over an oval ball. "It's like warfare, but fun. Players wear protective gear and try to advance territory, while the other team tries to stop them." Commander Vex stared at the screen. Humans were engaging in mock battlefield tactics, complete with protective armor, territorial advancement, and organized team assault strategies. "How popular is this football?" General Koth asked. "Huge. Probably our most popular sport. Played in schools, colleges, professionally. Whole families gather to watch games and cheer for their favorite teams." As the presentation continued, The Valdrani became more convinced that they were observing a warrior culture that had disguised military training as entertainment. Every recreational activity looked like preparation for combat, infiltration, or survival in hostile environments. What the humans saw as fun and games, the Valdrani interpreted as evidence of a species-wide military program that began in childhood and continued throughout adult life. The misunderstanding was growing deeper, and both sides were completely unaware of how differently they were interpreting the same information. 3 days later, the situation had become dangerous without either side realizing it. General Koth's crew was preparing defensive measures while still maintaining diplomatic appearances. Captain Morrison's crew was planning more cultural exchanges, completely unaware of the growing tension. The crisis began when engineer Tom Brady noticed unusual energy readings from the Valdrani ships. "Captain," Tom reported over the communication system, "the alien ships are charging their shield systems and positioning themselves in what looks like a defensive formation." Captain Morrison frowned. "Are you sure, Tom?" "Yes, sir. Their energy signatures match pre-combat preparations in our tactical databases." Alex immediately called Dr. Park and Security Chief Rogers to the bridge. "Lisa, have we done anything that might seem threatening to the Valdrani?" "Not that I can think of," Lisa replied. "Our exchanges have been friendly and educational." Mike Rogers checked his security monitors. "All our systems are normal, Captain. No weapons active, shields at minimum power." "Then why are they taking defensive positions?" Alex wondered aloud. Meanwhile, aboard the Crystal Harmony, Commander Vex was reporting to General Koth. "General, the human ship has activated scanning systems and is monitoring our formations. They appear to be analyzing our defensive preparations. They are gathering intelligence on our capabilities," Captain Wren concluded. "This confirms our suspicions about their military intentions." General Koth felt the weight of responsibility. "Prepare the fleet for defensive action, but maintain communication channels. We will not attack first, but we must be ready." Both sides began preparing for what they believed was inevitable conflict, each convinced the other was planning to attack. The breakthrough came from an unexpected source. Dr. Lisa Park was in her medical bay, reviewing all the data she had collected about Valdrani biology, when she noticed something important. "Computer, display Valdrani homeworld environmental data," she commanded. The screen showed information about the Valdrani planet: low gravity, stable climate, no predator species, abundant resources, cooperative evolution. "Computer, compare with human evolutionary environment." The comparison was startling. Earth's high gravity, extreme weather, predator-prey relationships, resource competition, and survival-based evolution were completely opposite to Valdrani conditions. "Oh my God," Lisa whispered. "We're not speaking the same language at all." She immediately called Captain Morrison. "Alex, I need to speak with the Valdrani right away. I think I understand what's happening." "Lisa, this might not be the best time." Tom detected defensive preparations on their ships. "That's exactly why I need to talk to them. I think there's been a huge misunderstanding." Captain Morrison authorized an emergency communication to General Koth. "General, Dr. Park has urgent information that might help our situation." General Koth's image appeared on the screen, looking tense. "Dr. Park, what is this urgent matter?" "General, I've been studying the differences between our worlds. I think we've been misunderstanding each other completely." "Explain," General Koth said carefully. Lisa took a deep breath. "Your people evolved on a peaceful world with abundant resources and cooperative survival. You developed technology through working together, not fighting." "That is correct. Humans evolved on a world that constantly tried to kill us. High gravity, dangerous weather, predators, diseases, natural disasters. We had to adapt or die." Commander Vex appeared beside General Koth. "Yes, we determined that Earth is a Class 12 death world. But here's what you missed," Lisa continued. "We didn't become warriors because of this. We became problem solvers. When faced with challenges we couldn't fight, we learned to adapt, cooperate, and think our way out of trouble." General Koth looked puzzled. But your recreational activities, your physical capabilities, your casual attitude toward injury, are survival skills, not military training, Lisa explained. We climb mountains because we had to learn to traverse difficult terrain. We swim in dangerous water because our ancestors needed to cross rivers and oceans. We play fighting sports because we needed to defend ourselves, but we made them into games to practice safely. Captain Morrison joined the conversation. General, when you see humans jumping from aircraft or climbing cliffs, you're not seeing warrior training. You're seeing how we learn to overcome our fears and limitations. Commander Vex spoke up. But your ship's capabilities, your advanced technology, are tools we developed to survive in space, Tom Brady said, entering the conversation. Space is even more dangerous than Earth. No air, deadly radiation, extreme temperatures. We needed good shields and engines just to leave our planet safely. Dr. Park pulled up comparative data. General, let me show you something. When humans first left Earth, our technology was actually primitive compared to most spacefaring species. But we were so used to adapting to hostile environments that space didn't scare us. We just saw it as another challenge to solve. General Koth studied the information carefully. Dr. Park, are you saying that humans are not a warrior species? We can fight when we need to, Captain Morrison replied. But we prefer to solve problems through cooperation and innovation. Everything you've seen, our resilience, our technology, our physical abilities, developed because we needed them to survive, not to conquer. Commander Vex looked at his data with new understanding. So when Engineer Brady treated his injury, so casually, he was showing normal human healing ability, Lisa explained. We've been getting injured and healing for millions of years. It's not special military conditioning. It's just how human bodies work. Captain Wren joined the conversation. And when Security Chief Rogers showed us extreme sports? Mike Rogers smiled. I was sharing what we do for fun. We turned survival skills into entertainment because we enjoy challenging ourselves safely. General Koth was quiet for a long moment. Dr. Park, you are saying that what we interpreted as military superiority and warrior culture is actually adaptation to a difficult environment? Exactly, Lisa confirmed. And I think I understand your reaction now. Your people evolved through cooperation on a peaceful world. To you, our survival adaptations look like weapons and military training. But they are not, General Koth said, slowly. They're tools for adaptation and problem solving, Captain Morrison confirmed. We developed them to work with our environment, not to dominate other species. Commander Vex checked his readings again. General, this explains the biological impossibilities I observed. Humans appear fragile because they use intelligence and cooperation to overcome physical limitations, not raw strength. Dr. Park nodded. We're successful not because we're stronger than our environment, but because we learn to work together and think creatively when faced with challenges. The tension in both ships began to decrease as understanding grew. General Koth, Captain Morrison said, I think our species could learn a lot from each other. Your cooperative evolution and advanced biotechnology could help us. Our adaptation skills and problem-solving experience might help you. General Koth smiled for the first time since first contact. Captain Morrison, I believe you are correct. We feared your strength, but perhaps we should appreciate your wisdom. Over the following days, both crews worked together on joint projects. Dr. Park and Commander Vex established medical exchange programs. Tom Brady and Valdrani engineers shared technology designs. Mike Rogers taught Valdrani security officers about human problem-solving techniques, while they taught him about peaceful conflict resolution. The dangerous ship had never been about weapons or military power. It had been about the dangerous misunderstandings that arise when two species judge each other by their own evolutionary standards. As the Stellar Dawn and the Valdrani fleet prepared to return to their respective homes, both sides had gained something valuable. The understanding that strength comes in many forms, and that different evolutionary paths can lead to friendship rather than conflict. The first human-Valdrani cultural exchange would be remembered not for the fears it created, but for the friendship it eventually built through honest communication and mutual respect. The Great Hall of the Galactic Council stretched for miles in every direction. Floating platforms held representatives from hundreds of worlds, but today only the most powerful species had been called to attend. The emergency meeting was classified at the highest levels, and the topic was one that made even the oldest council members nervous. Commander Veltar of the Zephyrian Empire stood at the center podium, his blue-scaled skin shimmering under the artificial lights. His forearms moved gracefully as he activated the holographic display above him. The image showed a small blue and green planet orbiting a yellow star. "Honored council members," Veltar began, his voice carrying easily through the vast chamber. "We are here to discuss the human problem." A murmur went through the assembled aliens. Earth had been on their watch list for centuries, but it was considered a minor concern. The humans were primitive, barely managing to leave their own planet. What threat could they possibly pose? Ambassador Crystaline's Song of Ages spoke first. Her body was made of living crystal that sang with harmonic frequencies when she moved. "The humans have barely achieved fusion power. Our youngest colonies have more advanced technology than their entire civilization." Veltar nodded, but his expression remained serious. That was true 50 years ago, but observe their progress rate. The hologram changed, showing human technological advancement over the past century. The progression was alarming. In 1950, humans had just learned to split atoms. By 2000, they had primitive computers. By 2050, they had fusion reactors and were mining asteroids. By 2100, they had established permanent colonies on Mars and Europa. The rate of advancement was unprecedented in galactic history. "This is impossible," rumbled General Void Whisper of the Wraith Federation. His shadow-like form flickered at the edges, a sign of his agitation. "No species develops this quickly. It took our people 3,000 years to progress from fusion power to interplanetary travel. The humans did it in 50. "Exactly my point," Veltar replied. He manipulated the hologram to show detailed scans of human space activities. "Look at their current capabilities. They have 17 colonies across their solar system. Their asteroid mining operations are more efficient than anything we've seen from species twice their age, and their population growth rate suggests they'll be ready for interstellar travel within decades, not centuries." The council chamber fell silent. The implications were staggering. Every species in the galaxy had followed similar development patterns. Slow, steady progress over thousands of years. The humans were breaking every rule they understood about technological advancement. Ambassador Crystaline's Song of Ages sang a worried tune. "Have they made contact with any other species? Perhaps they're receiving outside help?" "Negative," Veltar confirmed. "Our monitoring stations have been watching them for 800 years. They developed everything themselves. Their advancement appears to be entirely internal." This made the situation even more concerning. If humans could advance this quickly on their own, what would happen when they discovered faster-than-light travel? What would happen when they learned about the galaxy, full of other civilizations? "We have 3 options," Veltar continued. "First, we make contact and try to guide their development peacefully. Second, we maintain observation and hope they remain contained to their solar system. Third, we intervene now while we still can." General Void Whisper's form darkened. "The Wraith Federation votes for immediate intervention. These humans are unpredictable. They fight wars among themselves constantly, yet somehow this makes them stronger instead of weaker. They're unlike any species we've encountered." The Crystalline. "Collective agrees," sang Ambassador Crystaline's Song of Ages. "But intervention must be surgical. We don't want to destroy them, just limit their expansion potential." The debate continued for hours. Representatives from smaller species voiced concerns about attacking a world that had never threatened anyone. But the 3 major powers had made their decision. Humanity had become too dangerous to ignore. Finally, Veltar called for the formal vote. All in favor of controlled intervention in the human solar system? The vote was overwhelming. Only 12 minor species voted against the intervention. The rest agreed that humanity needed to be stopped before they became a threat to galactics. Stability. "Intervention is approved," Veltar announced. We will assemble a joint fleet. The humans will be given a chance to surrender peacefully. If they refuse, we will demonstrate the futility of resistance and establish a protectorate over their system. Within days, the largest military fleet in galactic history began assembling at the edge of human space. 500 ships from 3 different species, representing the most advanced military technology in the galaxy. Zephyrian battleships with plasma cannons that could crack moons. Crystalline vessels that could manipulate gravity itself. Wraith, shadow ships that could phase in and out of normal space. The fleet was commanded by Veltar himself, along with General Void Whisper and Crystal Admiral Deep Resonance. 3 of the galaxy's most experienced military leaders, commanding enough firepower to sterilize entire planets. As they approached the edge of the human solar system, their sensors confirmed what they expected. Mars had several million human colonists, but no significant military installations. Europa's underwater cities were impressive for such a young species, but posed no threat. The asteroid belt mining operations were extensive but purely civilian. Earth itself was the main population center, with over 12 billion humans. Their orbital infrastructure was growing rapidly, but their military presence in space was minimal. A few armed stations, some patrol vessels, nothing that could challenge even a single alien warship. It's almost sad, General Void Whisper commented as they reviewed the sensor data. They've accomplished so much in such a short time, but they're still children playing with dangerous toys. Crystal Admiral Deep Resonance's harmonic voice carried notes of regret. Perhaps we should reconsider. They pose no immediate threat, but Veltar had studied human history extensively. Look at their war records. They've been fighting each other for their entire recorded history. Every technological advancement they make, they immediately turn into weapons. Their fusion reactors become fusion bombs. Their space mining equipment becomes kinetic weapons. Given enough time, they'll turn everything into tools of war. The alien fleet maintained position at the edge of the Kuiper Belt, just beyond Pluto's orbit. From here, they could reach Earth in hours if needed. Their long-range sensors detected no signs of alarm from the human colonies. Normal space traffic continued between planets. No military mobilization was visible. They don't even know we're here, observed one of the Zephyrian officers. Their sensor technology is so primitive they can't detect our ships at this range. Veltar activated the communication array. It was time to make contact. The message would be broadcast on all human frequencies simultaneously, ensuring every colony and ship would receive it. Attention, human civilization. This is Commander Veltar of the Galactic Council Fleet. Your species has been observed and evaluated. Your rapid technological advancement and aggressive tendencies pose a potential threat to galactic stability. You have 72 hours to surrender all military assets and accept Council oversight of your further development. Compliance will ensure your species' survival and gradual integration into galactic society. Resistance will result in the necessary steps being taken to ensure you are no longer a threat. The message was transmitted with enough power to reach every electronic device in the human solar system. There was no way the humans could miss it or misunderstand its meaning. The response came exactly 6 hours later. It was brief and transmitted from Earth's Luna station. Commander Veltar, this is Admiral Sarah Chen of United Earth Defense Command. Your ultimatum has been received and reviewed. Our response is simple. Request denied. You have 72 hours to leave our system. This is your only warning. The alien commanders stared at their communication displays in disbelief. The humans were refusing to surrender? A species that had barely left their home planet was challenging a fleet that could destroy entire star systems? Perhaps they didn't understand the message, suggested Crystal Admiral Deep Resonance. Their translation systems might be inadequate. General Void Whisper's shadow form rippled with dark amusement. Oh, they understood perfectly. Look at their response time. 6 hours is exactly how long it would take to convene their leadership and reach a decision. This was calculated, not emotional. Veltar studied the tactical displays showing human activities throughout their solar system. Still no signs of military mobilization. No fleets moving to defensive positions. No evacuation of civilian areas. It was as if the humans were completely unconcerned about the threat facing them. "Run another sensor sweep," he ordered. "Full spectrum analysis of every human installation. There has to be something we're missing." The sensors found nothing new. A few orbital platforms around Earth that looked like weapons, but nothing that could threaten their fleet. Some armed patrol ships moving between colonies, but they were tiny compared to alien vessels. The humans appeared to be continuing their normal activities as if nothing had happened. "They're either incredibly brave or incredibly stupid," muttered one of the Wraith officers. "With humans, it's often both," replied Veltar. He had studied their species longer than anyone else in the fleet. Human behavior patterns were unlike anything else in the galaxy. They seemed to thrive on impossible challenges and refused to accept defeat even when facing overwhelming odds. The 72-hour deadline was approaching. Human space traffic continued normally. Cargo ships moved between planets. Construction continued on various orbital projects. There was no indication that they were preparing for war or planning to surrender. "Final sensor sweep," Veltar ordered as the deadline expired. "Confirm human military assets and prepare for demonstration of superior force." The sensors detected exactly what they had found before. A few armed stations, some patrol vessels, nothing that could challenge their overwhelming superiority. The humans had perhaps 50 ships that could be considered military vessels. The alien fleet had 500 ships, each one more advanced than anything humanity possessed. "All ships prepare for system entry," Veltar commanded. "We'll make one final approach to Earth orbit. When they see our full fleet, they'll understand the futility of resistance." As the massive alien armada began moving toward the inner solar system, their sensors continued monitoring human activities. Still no signs of panic or military preparation. The humans were either the bravest species in the galaxy, or they had a plan that the aliens couldn't detect. Neither Veltar nor his fellow commanders considered a third possibility. The humans might possess capabilities that their sensors couldn't detect because those capabilities were hidden somewhere the aliens had never thought to look. Deep beneath Earth's oceans, in trenches so deep that no alien sensor could penetrate them, automated systems that had been waiting for decades finally received their activation signals. The real test of human ingenuity was about to begin. The alien fleet moved steadily toward Earth, their massive ships gliding silently through space. Commander Veltar stood on the bridge of his flagship, watching the tactical displays with growing confusion. The humans continued their normal activities, as if nothing had changed. "Status report on human military movements," he ordered. Lieutenant Zix-9 manipulated the sensor controls with his tentacles. "No changes detected, Commander. Human space traffic remains at normal levels. No fleet movements toward defensive positions. No evacuation of civilian areas." This behavior was unprecedented in Veltar's experience. Every other species the Council had contacted had shown immediate signs of panic or preparation when faced with superior force. The humans seemed completely unconcerned. On Earth's Luna station, Admiral Sarah Chen stood in the command center, watching the approaching alien fleet through the main view screen. Her officers worked quietly at their stations, monitoring long-range sensors and communication networks. The atmosphere was calm, almost relaxed. "Admiral," called Captain Rodriguez from the communication station, "the alien fleet has crossed Jupiter's orbit. Estimated arrival at Earth in 18 hours. "Acknowledged," Admiral Chen replied calmly. She turned to her tactical officer. "Status on Leviathan project?" Commander Park checked his secure terminal. "All installations report ready status. Deep Pacific, Atlantic Trench, Arctic Basin, and all other facilities confirm full operational readiness. 30 years of construction have led to this moment." Admiral Chen nodded. The alien fleet had no idea what they were approaching. For 3 decades, Earth's greatest minds had worked on a project so classified that fewer than 10,000 people knew it existed. While the aliens watched Earth's surface and orbital space, humanity had been building something incredible in the deepest parts of their oceans. Dr. Elena Vasquez sat in her command chair, 12 kilometers beneath the Pacific Ocean's surface. Around her, the Mariana installation hummed with quiet activity. Her engineering teams had spent decades perfecting systems that no other species had ever imagined. "Final systems check," she announced to her crew. "Power core status?" 0-point generators operating at maximum efficiency, reported her chief engineer. "We have enough power to run every system simultaneously for 6 months. Gravitational manipulators? Online and calibrated. We can lift the entire installation to the surface in under 20 minutes. Quantum communication array? Full connectivity with all other installations. We're linked with Deep Pacific, Atlantic Abyss, Arctic, Crown, and the 9 other facilities worldwide." Dr. Vasquez smiled. The aliens thought they understood human technology. They had watched Earth's surface development and assumed that was the limit of human capability. They had never considered that humans might build downward instead of upward. Back on Luna Station, Admiral Chen received a priority message from Earth's Defense Council. The civilian leadership had been briefed on the alien threat and had given full authorization for any necessary response. "Admiral Chen," the message read, "you have complete authority to defend Earth by any means necessary. The Leviathan Project is approved for full deployment. Show them what humanity can do." She turned to her communications officer. "Send activation codes to all installations. Project Leviathan is now fully operational. Across Earth's oceans, 12 separate facilities received the same coded transmission. Deep beneath the waves and trenches and abyssal plains that had never seen sunlight, humanity's greatest achievement began to wake up. The alien fleet continued its approach, now passing the asteroid belt. Their sensors swept continuously across the inner solar system, looking for any sign of hidden human defenses. They found mining operations, cargo ships, and construction projects, but nothing that seemed military in nature. "Commander," reported the crystalline sensor operator, her voice singing with harmonics of confusion, "we're detecting some unusual seismic activity on Earth. Multiple locations in the oceans show elevated geological readings." Veltar examined the data. Earth was a geologically active planet, so seismic activity was normal. But the readings were coming from 12 separate locations simultaneously, all in the deepest ocean trenches. Probably volcanic activity, he decided. The planet's core is still active. Natural geological processes. He had no way of knowing that those seismic readings were caused by something far from natural. Deep beneath the ocean floor, massive mechanical systems were powering up for the first time in 30 years. Dr. Vasquez watched her displays as power flowed through systems the size of cities. The Mariana installation was just one part of humanity's hidden defense network. Each installation housed something that should have been impossible for such a young species to build. "Structural integrity check complete," reported her lieutenant. "All hull sections are secure. Atmospheric processors are online. Artificial gravity generators are stable." "Excellent," Dr. Vasquez replied. "Begin surface preparation sequence. It's time to show our visitors what Earth is really capable of." Similar conversations were happening at 11 other locations around Earth. The Atlantic Abyss installation prepared to rise from depths that had never known human presence. The Arctic Crown facility began melting through kilometers of ice and rock. The Pacific Deep Complex activated systems that defied known physics. On Luna Station, Admiral Chen watched the alien fleet's progress with calm satisfaction. Her tactical displays showed their exact positions, their weapon capabilities, and their communication frequencies. Earth's sensor networks were far more advanced than the aliens realized. "Ma'am," called her intelligence officer, "we're receiving detailed scans of the alien vessels. Their technology is impressive, but not beyond our capabilities. Our analysis suggests they're using conventional plasma weapons and gravitational shielding." "Good," Admiral Chen replied. "That means our countermeasures should be effective." The alien fleet had stopped at Mars orbit to conduct final preparations for their approach to Earth. Commander Veltar wanted to give the humans one last chance to surrender before demonstrating superior force. "Open communication channels to Earth," he ordered. "Final warning to human leadership." The message was broadcast across all frequencies. "Human leadership, This is your final opportunity to surrender peacefully. Our fleet will reach Earth orbit in 6 hours. Submit now and your species will be preserved under Council oversight. Continue your resistance and face the consequences of challenging superior forces. Admiral Chen's response was broadcast immediately. Commander Veltar, your offer is refused. Earth will defend itself with all available resources. You were warned to leave our system. Since you have ignored our warning, you will now discover why that was a mistake. General Void Whisper's shadow form flickered with dark amusement. The humans actually believe they can fight us. This will be educational for them. Crystal Admiral Deep Resonance sang notes of concern. Their confidence is troubling. Either they are delusional, or they know something we don't. Veltar studied the tactical displays once more. Human military assets remained minimal and scattered. Their strongest weapons appeared to be orbital defense platforms that couldn't match a single alien vessel. Either the humans were bluffing, or they had some hidden capability that his sensors couldn't detect. Begin final approach to Earth, he commanded. All ships maintain formation. Prepare to demonstrate overwhelming superiority. As the alien fleet moved toward Earth, seismic activity across the planet's oceans increased dramatically. Ocean monitoring stations recorded unprecedented movements in the deepest trenches. Tidal measuring devices detected massive displacements of water that couldn't be explained by normal geological processes. Dr. Vasquez felt the deck plates beneath her feet begin to vibrate as the Mariana installation started its ascent. Around her, displays showed depth readings changing for the first time in 30 years. They were rising from depths no surface dweller had ever imagined. All stations report ready for emergency surface, she announced to her crew. Structural integrity holding at all levels. We are go for full deployment. Similar reports came from installations around the globe. The Atlantic Abyss facility broke through seafloor sediments that had accumulated for millions of years. The Arctic Crown installation melted through ice sheets with directed energy beams. The Pacific Deep Complex began its journey from the deepest trenches on Earth. On the surface, oceanographers and seismologists watched their instruments with growing alarm. The readings made no sense. Something massive was moving beneath the oceans, something larger than anything in recorded history. Admiral Chen smiled as she watched status reports from all 12 installations. 30 years of the most classified project in human history was about to be revealed. The aliens had expected to find a primitive species barely capable of interplanetary travel. Instead, they were about to discover that humanity had been preparing for this day since they first detected alien observation posts. "Ma'am," reported her tactical officer. "All Leviathan installations report ready for surface deployment. The fleet is in position and awaiting your orders." "Excellent," Admiral Chen replied. "Signal all installations. Execute surface protocol. It's time to introduce our visitors to real human engineering." The alien fleet crossed the moon's orbit, their sensors now focused entirely on Earth. They detected the orbital platforms, the space stations, and the few military vessels that comprised humanity's visible defenses. Nothing they saw could challenge their overwhelming superiority. Commander Veltar was confident that this would be a simple demonstration of force followed by human surrender. Every other species had capitulated when faced with such odds. The humans would learn the same lesson their predecessors had. But deep beneath Earth's oceans, something unprecedented was beginning to happen. Water that had rested undisturbed for millions of years began to churn and boil as massive shapes rose from the deepest trenches on the planet. The aliens were about to learn that they had made a fundamental error in their assessment of human capabilities. They had looked up at the stars when they should have looked down into the depths. Humanity's greatest achievement had been hidden not in space, but beneath the waves of their own world. The real test was about to begin. The alien fleet moved into Earth's inner system, their massive ships casting shadows across the space between Earth and its moon. Commander Veltar stood on his bridge, watching the final sensor sweeps of human defenses. Everything appeared exactly as expected. A few orbital stations, some patrol vessels, nothing that could threaten even their smallest warship. All ships report ready for final approach, announced Lieutenant Zix-9. Human defensive capabilities remain minimal and scattered. Veltar nodded, satisfied. This would be over quickly. The humans would see their overwhelming force and surrender peacefully. It was better this way. Humanity had potential, but they needed guidance to develop safely. On Earth's surface, seismic monitoring stations around the Pacific Ocean recorded readings that made no sense. Dr. Janet Hughes, chief seismologist at the Hawaii Institute, stared at her computer screen in disbelief. "This can't be right," she muttered, adjusting her instruments. The readings show something the size of a small island rising from the Mariana Trench. Her assistant, Dr. Kim, looked over her shoulder at the data. "The displacement readings are incredible. Whatever's down there is massive. Maybe it's a new, volcanic island forming?" But Dr. Hughes had been studying Earth's geology for 30 years. She knew the difference between volcanic activity and something else entirely. "This isn't geological," she said quietly. "This is something else." 12 kilometers beneath the Pacific's surface, Dr. Elena Vasquez watched her control displays as the Mariana installation continued its ascent. Around her, the massive structure groaned and creaked as systems that had been dormant for decades came online. "Depth now at 8 kilometers and rising," reported her navigation officer. "All structural sections remain secure. Hull integrity at 100%. Dr. Vasquez had spent her entire career on this project. She had been a young engineer when construction began 30 years ago. Now, as the installation rose toward the surface for the first time, she felt a mixture of pride and anticipation. "Status on sister installations?" she asked. "Atlantic Abyss reports on schedule for surface breach. Arctic Crown is melting through the final ice barriers. All 12 installations are rising simultaneously." The alien fleet continued its approach, now close enough that Earth filled their main viewers. The blue and white planet looked peaceful and defenseless. Their sensors showed normal weather patterns, regular communication traffic, and no signs of military preparation. "Begin final descent toward Earth orbit," Veltar commanded. "Maintain formation. Prepare to broadcast surrender terms when we reach optimal position." But something was happening on Earth's oceans that their sensors couldn't properly interpret. The seismic activity they had dismissed as normal geological processes was increasing dramatically. Ocean monitoring satellites detected massive disturbances in 12 different locations. Commander Park on Luna Station watched his tactical displays with growing excitement. "Admiral," he called to Admiral Chen, "first surface breach detected in the Pacific. Mariana installation is breaking the surface now." Admiral Chen moved to the main view screen, which showed a live satellite feed of the Pacific Ocean. At first, nothing seemed unusual. Then the ocean surface began to bulge upward as something massive pushed through from below. The water rose higher and higher, forming a dome that stretched for dozens of kilometers. Then, breaking through like a whale emerging from the depths, something impossible appeared. The UHSS Leviathan breached the surface of the Pacific Ocean. The alien fleet sensors immediately detected the massive energy signature, but their computers struggled to process what they were seeing. The readings made no sense. Something had just emerged from Earth's ocean that was larger than their entire command ship. "What is that?" General Void Whisper's shadow form flickered with confusion as he stared at the sensor readouts. Lieutenant Zix-9's tentacles worked frantically over his controls. "Unknown contact emerging from Earth's ocean. Mass readings are..." "Commander, this cannot be correct. The object is 47 kilometers long." "Check your instruments," Veltar ordered sharply. "No ship can be that large. Even our greatest battleships are only 8 kilometers long." But the readings were confirmed by multiple sensors from different ships. Something massive had just risen from Earth's Pacific Ocean. As they watched, 11 more enormous objects breached the surface at locations around the globe. The Leviathan was a masterpiece of human engineering that defied everything the galaxy understood about shipbuilding. Its hull gleamed with an oily iridescence that suggested materials beyond current understanding. Along its massive length, hundreds of launch bays began opening like the gills of some enormous sea creature. "Dr. Vasquez," stood on the Leviathan's command bridge, looking out at the ocean surface for the first time in 30 years. Around her, displays showed the status of all 12 supercarriers as they stabilized on the surface. All installations report successful surface deployment, announced her communications officer. We have full connectivity with the Fleet Command Network. The carriers were not just ships, they were floating cities, each one containing manufacturing facilities, research laboratories, living quarters for millions of personnel, and weapon systems that incorporated breakthrough technologies. They represented the culmination of humanity's secret development program. On Luna Station, Admiral Chen opened communication channels to the alien fleet. It was time to reveal what humanity had really been doing for the past 30 years. Commander Veltar, she broadcast on all frequencies, this is Admiral Sarah Chen of the United Human Space Command. You were warned to leave our system. Since you chose to ignore our request, you will now witness what humanity has been preparing for the last 3 decades. The alien commanders stared at their displays in shock. The 12 massive ships floating on Earth's oceans were larger than anything in their fleets. But size wasn't everything. They still had superior numbers and advanced technology. Impossible, Crystal Admiral Deep Resonance sang, her harmonic voice filled with disbelief. How did they hide construction of ships this size? Our monitoring stations have watched Earth for centuries. Commander Veltar studied the tactical readings with growing unease. The human ships were enormous, but they appeared to be using unknown technology. Their energy signatures didn't match any known propulsion or power systems. Run full spectrum analysis, he ordered. I want to know what we're dealing with. The results that came back shook the foundations of everything they understood about technology. The human ships were using zero-point energy extraction, gravitational manipulation, and quantum tunneling systems. Technologies that should have taken millennia to develop. General Void Whisper's shadow form darkened with concern. How is this possible? They've advanced from fusion power to technologies we don't even understand in just 50 years. Dr. Vasquez activated the Leviathan's external communication system. Her voice broadcast across all channels, reaching every ship in the alien fleet. Honored representatives of the galactic species, she began, you made a critical error in your assessment of human capabilities. You assumed our technological development followed your linear progression models. You never considered that we might choose to build downward instead of upward. The alien fleet maintained position as they tried to understand what they were facing. The human carriers began launching smaller vessels, but these weren't traditional fighters. They were hybrid craft that seemed to blur the line between ship and weapon. Void phase fighters that could become partially transparent emerged from the Leviathan's launch bays. Graviton bombers that seemed to bend space around them launched from the Atlantic abyss. Reconnaissance drones that flickered in and out of existence deployed from carriers around the globe. Their fighter craft are using technologies we've never seen, reported the Zephyrian sensor officer. Some of them appear to be phasing in and out of normal space. Commander Veltar realized they were facing something unprecedented. The humans hadn't just built bigger ships. They had developed entirely new approaches to physics and engineering. Admiral Chen's voice continued broadcasting to the alien fleet. Every year you delayed contact, we grew exponentially stronger. We didn't remain hidden out of fear. We remained hidden out of caution. We needed time to prepare for this moment. The 12 supercarriers formed a defensive formation around Earth, their massive bulk displacing enough water to affect ocean currents around the globe. Launch bays along their hulls continued opening, revealing the scope of their construction. Each carrier housed not just military systems but entire ecosystems. Manufacturing facilities that could produce advanced materials in zero gravity. Research laboratories that pushed the boundaries of known science. Living quarters for crews numbered in the hundreds of thousands. Dr. Vasquez watched the tactical displays showing the alien fleet's position. They had superior numbers, but she wasn't concerned. The carriers represented more than just military might. They were the physical manifestation of human creativity combined with artificial intelligence. Bring online the quantum manufacturing systems, she ordered. I want the aliens to see what we can do. The Leviathan's manufacturing bays activated, instantly converting seawater into exotic materials that shouldn't exist outside laboratory conditions. Metals that could exist in multiple phases simultaneously. Alloys that could manipulate gravity at the molecular level. Crystalline structures that could store and redirect energy in impossible ways. The alien fleet watched in growing alarm as the human carriers demonstrated capabilities that defied their understanding of physics. Matter was being converted and restructured at the atomic level. Materials were being created that their scientists insisted were theoretical impossibilities. "Commander," reported Lieutenant Zix-9, his voice tight with stress, "the humans are manufacturing materials that our science says cannot exist. How is this possible?" Veltar had no answer. Everything they understood about technological development suggested the humans should be centuries away from this level of capability. Yet here they were, demonstrating technologies that surpassed anything in the galactic fleet. The human carriers began moving into formation around Earth, their massive bulk creating waves that could be seen from orbit. But they weren't just ships. They were mobile bases, construction facilities, and research platforms all combined into single vessels. Admiral Chen opened communications once more. "Honored aliens, we offer you a choice. Withdraw from our system peacefully, and we can discuss future relations as equals. Continue your aggressive approach and you will discover why we spent 30 years preparing for this moment." The alien fleet held position, their commanders faced with an impossible decision. They had come to subdue a primitive species and instead found themselves confronting technology that made their own seem obsolete. The 12 human supercarriers floated on Earth's oceans like islands of impossible engineering, their presence fundamentally altering the balance of power in the galaxy. The real demonstration of human capabilities was just beginning. The alien fleet held position in Earth orbit, their commanders struggling to comprehend what they were witnessing. The 12 massive human carriers floating on the planet's oceans represented technology that should not exist. Yet here they were, defying every law of physics the galaxy thought it understood. Commander Veltar convened an emergency meeting with his fellow commanders. General Void Whisper's shadow form flickered with agitation, while Crystal Admiral Deep Resonance sang worried harmonics that filled the conference room. "Analysis report," Veltar demanded from his science officers. Chief Scientist Mordek, a tall Zephyrian with 6 arms, manipulated multiple data displays simultaneously. "Commander, the human vessels are using technologies we considered theoretical impossibilities. Their power systems appear to extract energy directly from quantum vacuum fluctuations. Their hull materials exist in multiple quantum states simultaneously. And their propulsion, they're manipulating space-time itself." "That's impossible," General Void Whisper interrupted, his shadow form darkening. "No species develops quantum manipulation technology without going through thousands of years of intermediate steps. The humans barely had nuclear fusion 50 years ago." Crystal Admiral Deep Resonance sang notes of deep concern. "Perhaps they received outside help? Some unknown species sharing advanced technology?" "Negative," replied Intelligence Officer Zentar. "Our monitoring has been comprehensive. The humans developed everything independently, but their development rate suggests something unprecedented has occurred." Dr. Elena Vasquez stood on the Leviathan's bridge, watching the alien fleet through the main view screen. Around her, human officers worked at stations displaying information the aliens couldn't imagine. Quantum consciousness interfaces, probability manipulation fields, and temporal analysis systems. "Status on the alien fleet?" she asked her tactical officer. Commander Liu studied his displays. "They're maintaining position, but their formation suggests confusion rather than attack preparation. Their communication intercepts indicate they're having difficulty understanding our technology." Dr. Vasquez smiled. The aliens had made the same mistake every advanced civilization made when encountering a newer species. They assumed technological development followed predictable patterns. They never considered what might happen when a species achieved technological singularity. "Bring online the consciousness interface systems," she ordered. "It's time to show them what human AI synthesis can accomplish." Throughout the carrier, Systems that blended human creativity with artificial intelligence capabilities activated. The Leviathan wasn't just a ship operated by humans. It was a hybrid entity where human consciousness and AI processing power worked together as a single intelligence. Similar activations occurred across all 12 carriers. The Atlantic Abyss brought online quantum computing arrays that could process infinite parallel calculations. The Arctic Crown activated probability manipulation systems that could influence random events at the subatomic level. The Pacific Deep connected to a network that spanned the entire planet's ocean floor. Back on the alien flagship, sensors detected energy patterns unlike anything they had encountered. The human ships weren't just using advanced technology. They were using technology that seemed to operate outside the normal laws of physics. "Commander," reported Science Officer Mordek, "the humans are generating fields that appear to influence quantum probability itself. According to our instruments, they're making impossible events become likely outcomes." Veltar studied the readings with growing unease. "Explain that in terms I can understand." "They're changing the fundamental rules of reality around their ships. A weapon that should miss becomes likely to hit. A system that should fail becomes likely to succeed. They're not just using technology. They're rewriting the laws of physics on a local level." This revelation sent shockwaves through the alien command structure. Every species in the galaxy operated within the same physical constraints. The humans seemed to be operating outside those constraints entirely. Admiral Sarah Chen opened a new communication channel from Luna Station. Her message was broadcast directly to the command staff of all alien vessels. "Honored galactic representatives," she began, "I believe it's time for complete honesty. We've been aware of your surveillance for over 2 centuries. We've monitored your civilizations, studied your technologies, and learned from your developmental patterns." The admission stunned the alien commanders. The humans had known about them for 200 years? How had they detected surveillance that should have been unnoticeable to such a primitive species? Admiral Chen continued, "We realized early that our rapid technological advancement would eventually attract attention. So we made a decision that no other species has made. Instead of expanding into space, we chose to develop inward. Instead of building bigger ships, we chose to build better integration between biological and artificial intelligence." Dr. Vasquez activated visual displays that showed the true scope of human development. The 12 carriers were just the visible portion of a vast network. Beneath Earth's oceans, tunnel systems connected installations on every continent. Quantum communication arrays linked human colonies throughout the solar system, and most importantly, every human settlement was connected to a collective intelligence network. "We achieved technological singularity 30 years ago," Admiral Chen explained. "But unlike other species that might have made this breakthrough, we maintained our individual consciousness while gaining access to collective processing power. Every human can access the combined knowledge and analytical capability of our entire species." This revelation shook the alien fleet to its core. Technological singularity was the theoretical point where artificial intelligence surpassed biological intelligence, leading to exponential advancement beyond prediction. Most species that achieved this point either lost their individual identity or destroyed themselves. The humans had found a third path. "They're networked," whispered General Void Whisper. "Every human is connected to a collective intelligence. That's why their advancement rate was so unprecedented." Crystal Admiral Deep Resonance sang harmonics of amazement and fear. A species-wide quantum consciousness network. The processing power would be infinite. Commander Veltar realized the full scope of their error. They hadn't come to conquer a primitive species. They had challenged a post-singularity civilization that had been preparing for this encounter for decades. "What are their actual capabilities?" he asked his science team. Chief Scientist Mordek worked frantically at his displays. "Based on energy readings and technological analysis, Commander, they could probably build their own galaxy if they wanted to. The matter conversion systems we're detecting could restructure entire star systems." The human demonstration continued. The Leviathan activated its faster-than-light drive system, instantly disappearing from Earth's Pacific Ocean and reappearing near the moon. No jump gates, no preparation time, no energy buildup that should have been detectable. The massive carrier simply chose to be in a different location. Impossible, breathed Lieutenant Zix-9. They moved a 47-kilometer ship instantaneously across 200,000 kilometers of space. Our fastest ships need minutes to make that journey. But the Leviathan's demonstration wasn't over. The carrier began manufacturing smaller vessels in real time, converting local space debris into fully functional ships within minutes. Each new vessel incorporated the same impossible technologies as the parent carrier. Dr. Vasquez opened direct communication with the alien fleet commanders. Honored visitors, you came here believing you were dealing with a primitive species that needed guidance. Instead, you've encountered a civilization that has moved beyond the technological limitations you still face. She activated displays showing human capabilities throughout the solar system. Mars colonies that could manufacture entire cities overnight. Europa installations that had hollowed out the moon's interior for living space. Asteroid mining operations that could disassemble and reconstruct entire planetary bodies. We didn't remain hidden out of fear, Dr. Vasquez continued. We remained hidden out of courtesy. We wanted to understand galactic civilization before revealing ourselves. We wanted to be certain that contact would be beneficial for all parties. The alien fleet faced an unprecedented situation. They had come to demonstrate superior force to a primitive species. Instead, they found themselves outmatched by technology they couldn't understand, facing beings whose capabilities seemed almost godlike. Commander Veltar opened emergency communications with the Galactic Council. Council Command, this is Fleet Commander Veltar. We have encountered an unprecedented situation. The humans are not primitive. Repeat, the humans are not primitive. They possess post-singularity technology and capabilities that exceed our understanding. The response from the Council was immediate. Explain your status, Commander. Are you under attack? Negative, Council Command. We are not under attack. But we are completely outmatched. The humans have technology that makes our entire fleet obsolete. They could destroy us easily, but they're choosing not to. Admiral Chen's voice broadcast across all alien vessels. We offer you a choice, honored representatives. Leave our system peacefully, and we can establish diplomatic relations as equals. Continue your aggressive approach, and you will discover why we have been preparing for this moment for 30 years. The alien commanders faced an impossible decision. Their pride demanded they press forward with their original mission. Their survival instincts screamed that they were facing an enemy that could annihilate them without effort. The 12 human supercarriers waited patiently on Earth's oceans, their presence a demonstration of power beyond the galaxy's understanding. Behind them, the blue and white planet that had seemed so peaceful and defenseless revealed itself as the home of a species that had transcended the normal limits of physical existence. The future of galactic civilization hung in the balance, depending on the decision of aliens who had suddenly discovered they were no longer the most advanced species in the galaxy. The human demonstration continued. The Leviathan activated its faster-than-light drive system, instantly disappearing from Earth's Pacific Ocean and reappearing near the moon. No jump gates, no preparation time, no energy buildup that should have been detectable. The massive carrier simply chose to be in a different location. Impossible, breathed Lieutenant Zix-9. They moved a 47-kilometer ship instantaneously across 200,000 kilometers of space. Our fastest ships need minutes to make that journey. But the Leviathan's demonstration wasn't over. The carrier began manufacturing smaller vessels in real time, converting local space debris into fully functional ships within minutes. Each new vessel incorporated the same impossible technologies as the parent carrier. Dr. Vasquez opened direct communication with the alien fleet commanders. Honored visitors, you came here believing you were dealing with a primitive species that needed guidance. Instead, you've encountered a civilization that has moved beyond the technological limitations you still face. She activated displays showing human capabilities throughout the solar system. Mars colonies that could manufacture entire cities overnight. Europa installations that had hollowed out the moon's interior for living space. Asteroid mining operations that could disassemble and reconstruct entire planetary bodies. We didn't remain hidden out of fear, Dr. Vasquez continued. We remained hidden out of courtesy. We wanted to understand galactic civilization before revealing ourselves. We wanted to be certain that contact would be beneficial for all parties. The alien fleet faced an unprecedented situation. They had come to demonstrate superior force to a primitive species. Instead, they found themselves outmatched by technology they couldn't understand, facing beings whose capabilities seemed almost godlike. Commander Veltar opened emergency communications with the Galactic Council. Council Command, this is Fleet Commander Veltar. We have encountered an unprecedented situation. The humans are not primitive. Repeat, the humans are not primitive. They possess post-singularity technology and capabilities that exceed our understanding. The response from the Council was immediate. Explain your status, Commander. Are you under attack? Negative, Council Command. We are not under attack. But we are completely outmatched. The humans have technology that makes our entire fleet obsolete. They could destroy us easily, but they're choosing not to. Admiral Chen's voice broadcast across all alien vessels. We offer you a choice, honored representatives. Leave our system peacefully, and we can establish diplomatic relations as equals. Continue your aggressive approach, and you will discover why we have been preparing for this moment for 30 years. The alien commanders faced an impossible decision. Their pride demanded they press forward with their original mission. Their survival instincts screamed that they were facing an enemy that could annihilate them without effort. The 12 human supercarriers waited patiently on Earth's oceans, their presence a demonstration of power beyond the galaxy's understanding. Behind them, the blue and white planet that had seemed so peaceful and defenseless revealed itself as the home of a species that had transcended the normal limits of physical existence. The future of galactic civilization hung in the balance, depending on the decision of aliens who had suddenly discovered they were no longer the most advanced species in the galaxy. The alien fleet commanders faced the most difficult decision of their careers. Commander Veltar paced his bridge, his forearms gesturing as he wrestled with impossible choices. Attack a species that could apparently rewrite physics itself? Retreat and admit that their entire understanding of galactic hierarchy was wrong? General Void Whisper's shadow form flickered with uncertainty. Our forces are superior in number. 500 ships against 12, regardless of their size. Crystal Admiral Deep Resonance sang doubtful harmonics. Numbers mean nothing if their technology is truly post-singularity. We could be facing opponents who can manipulate reality itself. The debate was interrupted by a priority transmission from Earth. Admiral Chen's image appeared on all alien vessels simultaneously, somehow bypassing their communication security completely. Honored commanders, she began. I understand you're facing a difficult decision. Perhaps it would help if we demonstrated our true capabilities more clearly. Dr. Elena Vasquez stood beside Admiral Chen on the transmission, her hand resting on a control interface. We've been monitoring your communications, of course. Your concern about our post-singularity status is correct, but we're not the threat you think we are. The transmission shifted to show the interior of the Leviathan. The alien commanders stared in amazement at corridors filled with humans and artificial intelligences working together seamlessly. Gardens grew alongside quantum computers. Children played in areas next to laboratories that manipulated the fundamental forces of the universe. This is what post-singularity civilization looks like when guided by human values, Dr. Vasquez explained. We didn't lose our humanity when we gained unlimited technological capability. We enhanced it. Commander Veltar studied the transmission carefully. What exactly are you proposing? Admiral Chen smiled. We're proposing that you reconsider your entire approach to galactic governance. The Council's method of controlling younger species through superior force is obsolete. We offer a better alternative. The transmission expanded to show detailed intelligence reports on every species in the alien fleet. Personal information about individual commanders, technical specifications of their ships, and even predictions about their psychological responses to various scenarios. We've been studying your civilizations for 200 years, Admiral Chen continued. We know your technologies, your social structures, your political systems. More importantly, we understand your potential for growth. This revelation sent shockwaves through the alien command structure. The humans hadn't just been preparing for defense, they had been preparing for everything. General Void Whisper's shadow form darkened with alarm. They know everything about us, our ship designs, our weapon capabilities, even our personal histories. That's not meant as a threat, Dr. Vasquez said, apparently reading his thoughts through some unknown means. It's meant as an offer of cooperation. We've seen what your species can accomplish when working together instead of competing. Geik. Human demonstration continued. The 12 supercarriers simultaneously activated their manufacturing systems, but instead of weapons, they began producing gifts, medical technology that could cure diseases affecting Zephyrian biology, crystalline resonance chambers that could enhance crystalline consciousness, shadow phase generators that could improve Wraith stealth capabilities. We're not interested in conquest or domination, Admiral Chen explained. We're interested in advancement, collective advancement that benefits everyone. Commander Veltar watched in amazement as the human carriers produced technologies specifically designed to help alien species overcome their biological and technological limitations. Why would you share such advanced technology? Because that's what intelligent species should do, replied Dr. Vasquez. Competition slows progress. Cooperation accelerates it exponentially. The alien fleet received detailed technical specifications for the technologies being offered. Their scientists confirmed that the medical advances alone could extend lifespans and enhance cognitive abilities across all known species. Crystal Admiral Deep Resonance sang notes of wonder. These technologies could revolutionize our entire civilization. Why offer them freely? Because we've learned something your species haven't discovered yet, Admiral Chen replied. True advancement comes not from hoarding knowledge but from sharing it. When everyone advances, everyone benefits. The 12 human carriers began demonstrating their ultimate capability. Working together, they focused their matter conversion systems on a nearby asteroid. Within minutes, the rocky debris was transformed into a fully functional space station, complete with life support, manufacturing facilities, and communication arrays. We can build anything, anywhere, anytime, Dr. Vasquez explained. Planets, star systems, entire sectors of space-based civilization. The only limitation is imagination. But the most impressive demonstration was yet to come. The human carriers activated their quantum consciousness interfaces, temporarily extending the network to include the alien fleet. For a brief moment, every alien commander experienced what it meant to be connected to a species-wide intelligence. The sensation was overwhelming. Veltar suddenly had access to the combined knowledge of billions of human minds. He could feel the collective creativity, the shared problem-solving ability, the unified purpose that guided human civilization, and beneath it all, he sensed something the galaxy had never seen before, a post-singularity species that had maintained its compassion. This is what we offer, Admiral Chen said as the connection faded. Not conquest, not domination, but partnership. In true advancement, the alien commanders were left speechless. They had experienced, however briefly, what it meant to be part of a collective intelligence that enhanced rather than diminished individual consciousness. The choice is yours, Dr. Vasquez continued. You can attempt to maintain the old system of control through force, or you can join us in building something better. Commander Veltar looked at his tactical displays, seeing his fleet's weapons and shields with new understanding. Everything they had seemed primitive compared to what they had just witnessed. But more importantly, he realized that the humans were offering something no species had ever offered before. Genuine partnership between equals. Fleet Command, he announced to his vessels, stand down all weapons. Prepare for diplomatic transmission. His message to Earth was broadcast on all frequencies. Admiral Chen, Commander Veltar of the Combined Fleet, we formally request immediate ceasefire and diplomatic negotiations. The Galactic Council must be informed of this unprecedented situation. Granted, Admiral Chen replied immediately. We welcome the opportunity for peaceful discussion. General Void Whisper's shadow form brightened for the first time since arriving at Earth. The Wraith Federation agrees to negotiations. Your demonstration of post-singularity capabilities has been educational. Crystal Admiral Deep Resonance sang harmonies of agreement. The Crystalline Collective also agrees. We are honored to encounter a species that has achieved advancement without losing its essential nature. Within hours, the first interspecies diplomatic conference in galactic history was being held aboard the Leviathan. Representatives from dozens of species, many of whom had never spoken directly to each other, gathered in chambers that could accommodate any form of life. The conference room itself was a marvel of human technology. The atmosphere could be adjusted for different species simultaneously. Gravity fields could be customized for individual comfort. Translation systems provided perfect communication between any combination of languages. Admiral Chen addressed the assembly. Honored representatives, we stand at a crossroads in galactic history. The old system of control through superior force has reached its natural limit. We propose a new system based on cooperation and shared advancement. Dr. Vasquez presented detailed plans for galactic development projects that could benefit every species. Terraforming technologies that could create suitable worlds for any form of life. Educational systems that could accelerate technological development without the dangers of unguided advancement. Medical technologies that could eliminate disease and extend lifespans across all known biology. But these advancements require cooperation, she explained. No single species, no matter how advanced, can achieve its full potential alone. We need diversity of thought, different approaches to problems, varied perspectives on solutions. The negotiations continued for weeks. The Galactic Council was reconvened, this time with Earth as not just a member, but a founding partner in a new form of interstellar cooperation. The old hierarchy based on technological superiority was replaced by a collective advancement system, where every species contributed their unique strengths. 6 months later, the first Galactic Advancement Assembly was held aboard the Leviathan, permanently stationed in Earth's Pacific Ocean as a symbol of the new cooperative era. Representatives from hundreds of species worked together on projects that would have been impossible under the old system. Commander Veltar, now serving as Earth's liaison to the former Council species, stood on the Leviathan's observation deck looking out at the ocean. Below the waves he could see the lights of underwater cities that housed representatives from dozens of worlds, all working together on humanity's next great project. "What are you building down there?" he asked Dr. Vasquez, who had joined him, at the railing. She smiled, looking down at the construction lights beneath the waves. "The next phase of galactic civilization. We're building vessels designed for intergalactic travel. It's time to see what's beyond our galaxy." Veltar's scales shimmered with excitement. Intergalactic exploration. But the energy requirements alone would be not a problem when you have post-singularity technology and the cooperative effort of hundreds of species, Dr. Vasquez replied. "The universe is vast, Commander, and we're just getting started." Admiral Chen's voice echoed across the Leviathan's communication system. "All hands, this is Admiral Chen. Phase 2, construction has been approved by the Galactic Assembly. Begin preparations for Project Exodus. We're going to the stars beyond." The stars. The story concluded with a scene that captured the spirit of humanity's achievement. On Earth's surface, children from a dozen different species played together in parks where the gravity could be adjusted for anyone. In orbit, construction crews built vessels that incorporated the best technologies from hundreds of civilizations. And deep beneath the oceans, the next generation of supercarriers took shape, designed not for war, but for the greatest adventure in galactic history. Humanity had done something no other species had achieved. They had reached post-singularity advancement while maintaining their essential humanity. They had demonstrated that true strength came not from the power to destroy, but from the wisdom to build. And they had shown the galaxy that the greatest discoveries were still ahead, waiting for those brave enough to reach for them together. The universe would never be the same.